Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of the 12 Tribes of Israel. Be sure to check out part 1 before watching this video. Let's dive right in. Okay, so where did the 12 Tribes of Israel come from? Well, let me introduce you to today's star of the show. Joseph was the firstborn son of Rachel, Jacob's favorite wife. Now, I know I already spoiled it for you, but this robe really did make Joseph stand out. And not only did it represent his father's favoritism, it also made his brothers burn with envy. But things got even worse, because Joseph was a dreamer. He had dreams. In one dream, the sheaves of grain bowed down to his sheaf. And in another dream, the sun, the moon, and 11 stars bowed down to him. When he told his brothers about these dreams, their hatred for him grew. Then one day, Jacob sent Joseph to check up on his brothers who were out in the fields, but instead of helping them, Joseph found them plotting against him. They shouted, "Here comes the dreamer. Come and let us kill him and throw his body into that pit. Then we can say that a wild animal has devoured him and see what will become of his dreams." So when Joseph arrived, they threw him into the pit. But later, when some traders came by, they pulled Joseph out and sold him as a slave, taking his fine robe and dipping it in goat's blood to make it look like he'd been mauled by a wild animal. They then took the bloody robe to their father Jacob and told him that Joseph had been killed. So Jacob grieved for his son and wept bitterly. Meanwhile, in Egypt, Joseph was taken to Potiphar, a captain in Pharaoh's guard. And after working there for a time, Joseph's master noticed that God was with him, blessing everything he did. So Potiphar put Joseph in charge of his household. But soon after, Potiphar's wife falsely accused Joseph of trying to sleep with her, and he was thrown into prison. However, while Joseph was in prison, in the dark, cold prison of Egypt, Joseph waited. But even in chains, God was with him. Along with him were 2 of Pharaoh's servants were thrown into the same prison, the chief cupbearer and the chief baker. Both had strange and troubling dreams. Joseph interpreted them. Joseph said with faith, "Interpretations belong to God. Tell me your dreams." The cupbearer spoke first. "In my dream, I saw a vine with 3 branches. It budded, blossomed, and clusters of grapes grew. I took the grapes, pressed them into Pharaoh's cup, and placed it in his hand." Joseph listened, then explained, "The 3 branches are 3 days. In 3 days, Pharaoh will lift up your head and restore you to your position. You will place the cup in Pharaoh's hand, just as before." The cupbearer's eyes lit with hope. Then the baker stepped forward. "In my dream, 3 baskets of bread were on my head. In the top basket were baked goods for Pharaoh, but the birds came and ate them from the basket." Joseph's face grew serious. "The 3 baskets are 3 days. In 3 days, Pharaoh will lift up your head, but he will execute you. The birds will eat your flesh." And just as Joseph said, on the 3rd day, Pharaoh's birthday, the cupbearer was restored, and the baker was executed. He told the cupbearer, "When all goes well with you, remember me and show me kindness. Mention me to Pharaoh and get me out of this prison, for I was forcibly carried off from the land of the Hebrews. And even here, I have done nothing to deserve being put in this dungeon." But sadly, once the cupbearer was restored to his position, he forgot all about Joseph and did not speak of him to Pharaoh, at least not until 2 years later, when Pharaoh himself had troubling dreams that no one could interpret. Even in prison, Joseph's gift was clear. God was with him, guiding his path to destiny. Years passed, and one night, Pharaoh had 2 dreams, and no one could interpret them. But word reached Joseph that Pharaoh was looking for someone to explain them. So Joseph was brought in, and he correctly interpreted Pharaoh's dreams, telling him that 7 years of plenty would be followed by 7 years of famine. Pharaoh was so happy that Joseph was able to explain his dreams that he made him second in command over all Egypt. Then when the 7 years of plenty ended, just as Joseph had predicted, the 7 years of famine began. And it was so severe that people from all around came to Egypt to buy grain. At this point, Joseph's brothers left their home to go to Egypt to get food for themselves and their families. They bowed before him, not knowing who he was. Joseph's heart raced as he recognized them immediately. These were the same brothers who had once betrayed him. He remembered the dreams he had as a boy, the sheaves and stars bowing before him. Instead of revealing himself, Joseph decided to test them. He accused them of being spies and demanded they bring their youngest brother, Benjamin, to Egypt. His brothers were shocked and afraid, but they obeyed. When Benjamin arrived, Joseph's heart ached at the sight of his beloved brother. Yet he still kept his identity a secret. To test them further, Joseph secretly placed his silver cup in Benjamin's sack and accused him of theft. Judah, seeing his brother in danger, offered himself as a slave in Benjamin's place. Joseph was deeply moved. He realized his brothers had changed. At last, Joseph could hold back no longer. He ordered everyone else to leave, and in tears, he revealed himself. "I am Joseph! Is my father still alive?" His brothers trembled, afraid that Joseph would take revenge. But Joseph embraced them, weeping. "Do not be afraid. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to save many lives." Joseph forgave them completely. He brought his family to Egypt, where they were safe and provided for. What had begun as betrayal had become a story of redemption, faith, and the unbreakable power of God's plan. And so Jacob, along with his sons and grandchildren, settled in Egypt, and they lived there for many years. Thanks for joining us for part 2. If you enjoyed this, be sure to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Also, don't forget to hit the bell icon to receive a notification every time we post a new video. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in part 3.